we will take examples of his mercy towards animals alayhi salatu wasalam. The point we want to reach, again, the goal, is that if there was that much mercy one day on this earth for animals, how far are we, since we are claiming that we are carrying his message, how far are we from what he did alayhi salatu wasalam and what he was trying to teach us? His mercy towards animals alayhi salatu wasalam was reflected in the way he defined them. He used to say, اتقوا الله في هذه البهائم العجماوات. Fear God in these beasts al-ajmawat. He explained what he meant with the word ajmawat in a way I never thought about it before. When he said, those who cannot complain to you, those who cannot tell you of their pain and hunger. Have you ever thought about a cat when you're walking on the street that, unlike my patient, it can tell me that its arms aches, or it has an ulcer on its tongue? I never thought about it that way, but that's his mercy alayhi salatu. There might be suffering and we will not know it. So that's how he defined it. We will begin this journey with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his mercy towards animals with his camel, al-Qaswa. First of all, he gave it this name, al-Qaswa. And al-Qaswa is from the word al-Qasi. Qasi means as far as the horizon can reach. It's the same camel he used alayhi salatu wasalam during the hijrah from Mecca to Medina, this event that was a turning point, not in our history only, in the history of earth. So it was honored. We all know, until the end of days, we all know that the camel the Prophet ﷺ used is Al-Qaswa, because he gave it this name. It's distinguished now. Even after they arrived to Medina, it was further honored by having an angel guide it to where the Masjid al-Nabawi will be built. And according to one of the narrations, when it was walking through the streets of Medina, the people said, خَلَأَتِ الْقَصْوَى, meaning it lost its way. So the Prophet ﷺ answered, he defended it. He said, لا والله ما خلأت القصواء وما كان هذا لها بخلق. Wallahi, it has not lost its way, and this is not from its character. It's not from its nature. He's defending it ﷺ. And it doesn't understand anything. When Al-Qaswa will get sick, he will not just say, take it and treat it. I don't know how to treat it, just you solve the problem. And he is the leader of a nation, ﷺ. He will attend to it himself and nurse it himself, as was narrated, ﷺ. Wallahi, if this Qaswa is to testify, it will testify to the good companionship of the Prophet ﷺ. So this takes us back to the previous point. If this how he was to Al-Qaswa, how should we be to one another? He ﷺ also had a horse named As-Sakb. He used to pet the horse. He would put his fingers at the forelock of the horse, Nasiyat al-Khayl, and he will twist it and curl it to pet the horse. And while he's on the back of the horse, he will use the sleeve of his shirt again to pet the back of the neck of the horse. It's not just means of transportation. No, it's a soul. There's a soul. It's an animal. It feels. And he addressed that, alayhi salatu wassalam. He once was walking in the streets of Medina with his companion, Jabir radiyallahu anhuma. Jabir ibn Abdullah radiyallahu anhuma. When he saw a donkey that was branded on its face. Branding is when the animals are burned to be identified. It's a practice done up till today, actually. So this animal, or this donkey, was branded on its face. He didn't ignore it. He didn't just pass by this filthy donkey on the side of the street. He noticed that. Compare that to us. Seeing somebody on a wheelchair, on a side of a hallway in the hospital, looking in so much suffering and pain, alone, who knows waiting for what? And no one is even addressing them or caring about them. I don't claim I pay attention to every one of them. And I don't claim I will go ahead and talk to every one of them. But the hope is that there's always 3, 4 around them, because each and every one knows that you don't want to see somebody suffering and you're not doing anything about it. So the Prophet ﷺ stopped and he was angered. He turned to his companions and he told them, and he's one who never curses. You all know that, he never curses. Actually, even when somebody cursed at them and the companions was answering, he stopped them and told them, I was not sent down to curse down on people, but I was sent down as mercy. That's why he was sent down, and that's what we are talking about today. He said in this situation and in another situation that involved torturing animal, لَعَنَ اللَّهُ الَّذِي وَسَمَهُ. May God curse the one who branded it. He could not tolerate that. that this animal who doesn't know anything, who cannot complain about anything, was ignored and burned like that. And he told them here, among the things he said, وَلَا يَضْرِبَنَّ أَحَدٍ الْوَجْهِ. Not just do not burn, do not hit the face. And this is a donkey. Now if he come and see those who beat their children, their spouses, or their parents, what will he say to them? How far are they from the message of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam? He once walked into a garden in Medina that belongs to one of the Ansar. And we just mentioned before, and their love is part of our faith. They are his allies. They took him as one of their own. They loved him and he loved them back. So these are his allies. He walked into the garden when, according to the hadith, a camel came running to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, making a sound Arabs say he make, or animals make, when they want to reflect deep pain and suffering. And as the hadith say, this animal stopped before the Prophet ﷺ and its eyes were overfilled with tears. So he stopped what he was doing ﷺ. He walked close to this camel and kept patting on the hump of the animal, kept rubbing the back of the neck and behind the ears. These are ways to calm down the camels. He kept doing that until the camel calmed down. How many of us need that now? How many people need such a pat on the shoulder at the end of the month or at the end of the year or at the end of any difficult situation they go through? But this is what we are missing, really. This is what we are missing, this touch of the Prophet ﷺ. And again, I will keep emphasizing, this is what I hope you want to deliver. Not just ideas, not just thought, but also a merciful message that will bring back to this health services that we are providing, this soul that really almost is lost now. After this camel calmed down, he blamed this man. He said, to whom does this animal belong? So one of the Ansar said, to me. So these are his allies. He blamed him. He told him, أَفَلَا تَتَّقِ اللَّهِ فِي هَذِهِ الْبَهِيمَ الَّتِي مَلَّكَكَ اللَّهُ إِيَّهَا. Do you not fear God in this beast over whom Allah gave you ownership? Look, he's blaming who for who. Also from the gentle, fine biography of our Prophet ﷺ is his mercy towards dogs. He once was out with a group of his companions, with an army actually, when they passed by a mother dog feeding its young ones. So he's the leader of the army now. He went out to stop some harm coming to Medina. He's thinking about how to protect the people in Medina. How can he provide for his army and bring them back safely to Medina? Yet he had time for this dog. And he assigned one of the companions, one of the greatest companions, Ju'ayl ibn Suraqa radiyallahu anhu, min khayr nas, to stand guard over this dog and protect it so that the rest of the army will not come close to it and scare it from feeding its young ones. For giving a dog a sip of water, Allah admitted man into Jannah. So how about extending a hand to a patient? How about rubbing and just patting on the shoulder of those going through pain? Maybe, I think it's a blessing, it's a mercy, first of all, that you're working on this. Second of all, that we work in a place like this, in a hospital, regardless of what your job is. I really believe that maybe an employee at the front desk, موظفة استقبال، ممكن تتكلم بأدب وتضحك في وجه المريض, might actually do more healing than an arrogant physician or surgeon who is talking to a patient in a bad way. He actually, when the man asked him, are we rewarded even for helping animals? He answered with a key point in Islam. And he said, في كل كبد رطبة أجرة. Meaning there is a reward for helping every living thing. That is the point that we are to keep in mind. Also, he extended this kindness, compassion, alayhi salatu wasalam, to cats. Sayyidah Aisha radiallahu anha told us that if a kitten will pass by while he is drinking from his bowl or his cup, he will leave some water or some milk and give it to that kitten. He also warned his companions. He actually warned his nation from torturing animals. He told us about a woman from the previous nations who was entered into hellfire because she trapped a cat. He told us why she was admitted into hellfire. لا أطعمتها ولا تركتها تأكل من خشاش الأرض. It didn't feed it, nor it let it roam free and eat from the vermin of the earth. So for taking the freedom of a cat, a human being was entered into hellfire. So how about taking the freedom of human beings? How about abusing the freedom of these patients who don't know better, don't know more than what you're going to tell them. And you might be killing them and they will still thank you and kiss your hand. So even when we go to the world of sheep and cattle, he didn't forget about them, alayhi salatu wassalam. If he walked, he will usually advise men those who are milking the sheep to not have long nails. He once walked into a yard and saw that the men milking the sheep had long nails. So he told them, order them to trim their nails. And he will often say, إِذَا حَلَبْتُمْ فَأَبْقُوا لِوَلَدِهَا. If you're going to milk them, leave some for its children. Why did he say that? They didn't complain to him. But that's just part of him, alayhi salatu wasalam. That's his character. And that's how we want to be. And in return, you want to speak for the rights of people here, or patients, and you want to advocate for a better health system. And because you're going against the wave, you are being blamed, your reputation is being tainted, etc., etc. But even those who don't complain, cattle, the Prophet ﷺ addressed what they want. I don't know any religion before Islam that made it a matter of the religion to be merciful to animals while slaughtering them. Yes, in Islam we are allowed to benefit from their wool, their milk, and their meat. But I don't know anyone before who made it a matter of religion to make it easy for the animal. Prophet ﷺ told us, those who are slaughtering the animals, make your knives sharp. He said why? To make matters easy and more comfortable to the animal you are slaughtering. That's why. And he didn't just want us to sharpen the knife. He alayhi salatu wasalam wanted us, the message is not just to sharpen the knife. If you want to take the text and ignore the context, yes, you will sharpen the knife, but that's not what he was asking for. He once saw a man who put an animal down on the floor and went on to sharpen the knife. So he was following the words of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was sharpening his knife. But the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam told him, أَتُرِيدُ أَن تُمِيتَهَا مَوْتَاتٍ. Do you want to kill it times and times again? Not just by slaughtering it, by seeing you sharpening the knife to slaughter it. So it's not just the words, it's the meaning behind the words that the Prophet ﷺ have. So that's what he wants us to understand. That's the point we want to get. Also for vegetarians, إلا ما يأكلوا اللحوم. أشك إنه في الناحية دي في كثير ما يأكلوا اللحوم، يمكن هنا في شوية. What did the Prophet ﷺ told them? He didn't say, no, you have to eat meat. That is my sunnah and you have to do like me. A man came to the Prophet ﷺ and he told him, Ya Rasulullah, inni arhamu shat an adbahaha. O Prophet of God, I have too much mercy to slaughter the sheep. He didn't tell him you have to. It's something I do. He answered him with the point that we're just roaming around. Innaka in rahimtaha rahimakallah. If you show mercy to it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have His mercy come upon you.